Hello, everybody. What's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. To start off, my name is Megan. A little bit of backstory on me. I do work in auto finance, and at a particular point, I did work in customer service, and the amount of people who were not aware of what they're getting into when they get into these deals, it was kind of astounding to me. And there's just so much misinformation that are put out there, either from the dealership or just from what the person knows just going into it. So I want to go ahead and clear up some of those things. The dealership's job is just to sell you the car. They're not going to go into the major specifics. If they did, they're really awesome, because that's really uncommon. So stay right here. I hope you guys will watch this video in its entirety to be able to get all of those important details, because who wants to pay half of the payment in interest? Nobody. And to get started, all auto loans are simple interest loans. Well, let me backtrack. The majority, check with your lender just to be sure. But by simple interest, that means that interest accrues each and every single day from when you sign that contract all the way until you make that final payment. So the amount of interest does decrease over time, because as your balance is reducing, that also means the amount of interest charged daily is also reducing. Now, the interest charged daily is also referred to as a per diem, and that literally, I think, translates to per day. So that all depends on what your balance is and what your APR is. Now, there is a quick way you can get that calculated out. Sometimes, depending on your lender, if you do online management of your auto loan account, sometimes that's readily available to you when you log in. But if you're not much into the online thing, your per diem is pretty much calculated out as your APR times your balance divided into 365, because there are 365 days in a year, of course. So whatever that calculation is, you'll just round that off to the dollar amount, and that's how you get your per diem. You don't get charged interest at the end. That's one common misconception that I hear. You don't get charged your principal first, which is the amount that you actually are financing for. That's the amount you're going to be paying your lender back, plus the interest, of course. But when you get into your contract, what'll happen is, since that interest is going to start, you're going to be charged the most amount of interest at the beginning, because of course you're just getting into it. So your balance is at its highest. But over time, that amount of interest that's taken out of your payments and that you owe is going to decrease, because your balance is also decreasing. So if you feel that a lot of your payment is not going towards your principal balance, but it's going all towards interest, don't worry too much about that, because over time that's going to reduce. Now, of course, if you do unfortunately have a high APR, what's going to happen is that the higher your APR, the higher amount of interest that's going to be taken out of each of your payments. And the lower the APR, more is going to instead go towards your principal balance instead of to interest, which ultimately that's what we all want, right? Is to pay much towards the principal balance as we can, because that helps you to ultimately pay off the loan faster, because you're charged interest each and every day. So the quicker you get that balance paid off, the less you'll pay in interest. Now, another misconception that I hear is that sometimes dealerships will say, hey, as long as you make your payment on time. I've had this once. You're not gonna pay any interest when you make your payment. It's all gonna go towards your balance, so you won't have to worry about it. Or you won't get paid interest. You won't have to pay interest until you reach the end of your loan, because you're gonna try to pay off all. It's just so many different things that I've heard from customers, to where I'm like, who told you this? It's like, how did this even enter your mind? Like, why, and how would it make sense for a finance company to have someone just pay back the amount of the loan but pay interest later? Like, how does the finance company benefit from that. I'll wait. Now, the amount of interest that gets taken out of each payment is all going to depend on how many days there were between your last payment and when you're going to make your most recent one, or the next one, I should say. So if there's 30 days in between payments, what you're going to do is multiply the 30 days times whatever your per diem is for that particular billing cycle, and that'll give you a rough amount of how much you should expect to come out of your payment in interest. And then whatever else is left off of your monthly payment, then that all is going to go towards your principal. Of course, that's assuming you make your payments on time and you don't have late fees or anything like that. So that's basically how you can determine the amount of interest that gets taken out of your payment. Now, what you can do to kind of offset that interest, if you have a high APR on your loan, you can elect to do principal only payments. Now, you want to check with your lender, because each lender has different policies on how you can make principal only payments. But pretty much what you're going to want to do is, let's say your regular monthly payment is about $350. What you want to do is to kind of start offsetting that interest that you'll be charged in the future. You can elect to increase the amount that you send in every month for your payments. So let's say you want to pay an extra $100 towards your principal. What you can do is send in $450, and that extra $100, instead of holding that in your pocket, paying towards something else. If you really want to get out of your auto loan fast and pay it off quicker, making those principal only payments are really going to help, because that extra $100 that I mentioned, instead of going towards interest, it's going to reduce your balance by that additional $100, along with what normally would have went out of it from that $350 that you normally pay. So if you do that over the course of your loan consistently enough, that's going to help you to pay off earlier and therefore save in more interest. So because lenders don't charge interest in the future, you do it for however long the loan is open. So if you're able to pay your loan off a year early, that's a year's worth of interest that the lender is not going to get, and therefore you're able to keep in your pocket. And I mean, I know I would want a year's worth of interest in my pocket. So I don't know about y'all, but I personally make those additional principal only payments, and I'm on track to pay off way earlier than I was originally scheduled and contracted to do. So if I can provide any tips on how to save in interest, that would be the number one tip, because it helps you out in the long run, because you're going to get that paid off faster and you're going to get to save a lot of money. And who doesn't want that? I know I did. Now, the reason why I am telling you guys to check with your lender to see how they handle the principal payments is because lenders may have a difference in how they do their allocation of your payment. Some may have to where interest comes out first and the remainder goes towards the principal, which is, I think, the normal allocation. But again, check with them just to make sure, because I don't want you guys to pay all this extra and it's not helping to bring down your loan. Again, check with your lender just to make sure that that extra money you decide to pay each month, that's all going to help as well. And also, if you feel like the month-to-month thing isn't something that would be feasible for you, you can elect to do a lump sum principal only payment. So instead of maybe doing like 50 to 100 extra dollars on top of your regular monthly payment every month, if it works out better for you to just do it all at once, like let's say you want to put $2,000 down onto your loan as principal only, then that's something that you also have as an option, because that's going to do the same thing, except it's going to do it at a lot faster at a pace. So if you put $2,000 down on your loan to principal, then it's going to reduce your balance by exactly that $2,000. Because if we go back to the $350 example, what's going to happen is that that entire $350 does not go towards your balance. The interest, of course, remember, has to be taken out first, and then whatever is left after that interest is taken out, that's the amount you're going to see go towards your balance. So making those extra and additional payments, again, it's just going to help you in the long run to save in that interest and to also be able to pay your loan off faster. And that'll be one less bill that you have to be responsible for each and every month. So I highly suggest you guys consider that. We all have other finances. Sometimes it's not really able to be something you can do right away. And since it's not something some people aren't able to do right away, maybe you can try to start off small, maybe do $20, $25, $40, start off, small, just to see if it's something you can do. And even that small of a payment, sometimes depending on what your remaining balance is and what your APR, even sometimes that little of an amount can make a really big impact if you do it over time. So just do what you can. You don't have to start off big. Just start to see if it's something that works for you, and maybe over time you can increase the amount that you pay extra monthly. Or if you want to save $20 here and there to where you want to collectively just put that down as a higher principal payment, $1,000, $500, $2,000, $5,000. That's definitely something you have the option to do as well. It's all about what works for you. Auto lenders are not out to get you. And that's another, I don't want to say misconception, but it's all a notion that a lot of people have in their minds. And auto lenders are not out to get you. They want you to be able to pay off quicker. And again, let me backtrack a little bit. And you also want to make sure with your lender that there's no penalties for paying off early. I think the majority don't, but if you're with a credit union or whatnot, a smaller institution, you definitely want to make sure that they don't have a penalty or anything for you paying the loan off quicker. So definitely check on that. But I mean, if you have a bigger institution financing your loan, a nationwide company, then I think it's highly unlikely. I know the bank that I work for doesn't, so that's an awesome thing. But ultimately, we just want you to be able to pay it off quicker. We're not trying to charge you extra interest. Things happen. But, as long as you stay in communication with us, it's all good. We're here to help. We're not here to tear you down and make you pay more. We all want you to Now, another misconception out there is when it comes to refinancing. Now, what I used to hear in customer service all the time is that dealerships would tell them, hey, I know it sounds your APR sounds a little high right now, but in 6 months, a year, you could refinance and they'll be able to drop it lower as long as you make your payments on time. Truthfully, you could really refinance at any point. There's not a certain time limit that you have. Preferably, it would be the best for you to refinance as soon as you can. You could refinance technically before you make your first payment. It doesn't have to be 6 months, a year into the loan. Now, the later you get into your loan, the less beneficial it's going to be for you. So you want to look into the option within the first year or so into your loan, maybe 2. 2 years isn't too late. But a lot of calls that we would get from customer service is that if we as the current lender would be able to refinance and give them a lower APR. And the truth is that most major institutions will not refinance your current loan. You usually do have to go with another lender, unfortunately. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit of a hassle, but ultimately, if you want that lower rate, sometimes it is worth it to just switch. Because in the normal refinance process, what happens is one lender, whoever you choose to go with your new adjusted terms, will pay off your current lender to where that loan closes out, and then you start making your payments to the new lender at the new terms, usually lower, because I mean, who's going to refinance for something worse? I hope no one got into that. But anyway, that's usually the process and how refinance works. Now, if you're asking your current lender to just adjust your terms, it's pretty much like the lender would have to pay off themselves, and that doesn't make the most sense. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of business, financial, and regulatory reasons possibly why lenders aren't able to just keep the current loan and just adjust the terms to it. But yeah, there would be a lot of customers who would be upset by that, but you just kind of have to look around and see who could give you those better terms. And I could go a little bit more into detail about refinance, but that's the gist of it. If you have a big institution financing your auto loan, they're most likely not going to be able to make any changes to it. And that's why making those principal only payments I said earlier will really help you out. Now, there is another option out there that can help you to save a little bit in interest and pay more towards your principal balance. And that would be opting to make bi-weekly payments for your monthly car payments. Now, most of us, we tend to pay once a month, and that's usually about every 28 to 30 days. Now, of course, interest is accruing between each and every one of those payments. Now, if you elect to pay every 2 weeks, which is a bi-weekly payment, instead of every 30 days in between payments, you're reducing it down to every 14 to 15 days between payments. So how that's going to help is that you're making your payments more often and a lesser amount is coming out in interest, and over time that is going to help more go towards your principal. So that is a good way for you to save in interest and also to pay towards your principal faster. Now, this option, it won't necessarily help you pay off faster, but it'll help you to save in interest a little bit. Now, again, this is something that you'll have to determine is right for you, because we don't all get paid every 2 weeks. Some people only get paid once a month or what have you. So you definitely have to try it out and see if it's something that works out for you. But if not, there's definitely nothing wrong with paying once a month. Now, for the bi-weekly payment option, again, you want to check with your lender, because not all lenders allow their customers to be able to make bi-weekly payments. Sometimes you can only do once a month. So definitely you want to see what your lender's policy is on that, because if they don't allow you to do it, then you would be stuck just making it once a month, but never hurts to try, right? Now, another thing when it comes to your auto loans and making payments, when you get into your loan, there's some instances where the due date for your payment is at an inconvenient time of the month. Like, I know a lot of people at the beginning, you have a lot of your monthly bills that are at the beginning. Some people are at the end or the middle. So if your due date falls at a particular time or part of the month where you have a lot of other expenses that have to take priority, then it's possible that your lender may have the option for you to change your due date on your loan. Now, sometimes there's a limit on how many days you can move it. Some lenders don't. Again, this is going to be like the thing I'm going to say the most throughout this video is check with your lender, because not every lender is going to have the same policy, but it's definitely something you want to follow up with to see if that's something that would help you out a little bit. Because if your payment's due on the first of the month and you have either mortgage, rent, insurance, what have you, all come out at the the beginning of the month, then if you elect to move that due date to the middle or the very last week of the month, that could help out a lot better. You want to make things a little bit easier for you. So if you move it at that point, it's going to help out a lot for you to not have to worry about making late payments. Now, some lenders also offer grace periods. Now, you want to avoid paying too much in your grace period. Again, check with your lender for their grace period policy if they offer one, because interest will still accrue during your grace period. So that's not extra time for you to make your payment each month. It sometimes will avoid like any fees or anything like that being charged to your next month's payment. It's there just, in case something happens, like an emergency, with the house or with like your health, anything like that happens. That's why grace periods are put into place, but they're usually still regarded as a late payment. So that's why you kind of want to steer clear of making those grace period payments. But I strongly urge you guys, if your payment is at an inconvenient time of the month, then definitely check with your auto finance lender to see if that's a change you can make on your account, because I think that would be pretty beneficial to not overextend yourself at one part of the month and you have no money for other things. Now, if you've previously had another auto loan, like let's say this is your second time, third time getting a vehicle finance, but this time around it's with a different company than you're used to having in the past. Now, all of this time I've been saying check with your lender for the majority of the things I've been saying, and that definitely holds true for other things as well. Now, when it comes to payment options and like getting statements, deferments, things like that, you always want to check with your lender to see where they stand on things like that, because I know for some lenders, they only allow you to pay over the phone, online, or mail in. And most lenders, I've heard customers would say from time to time, oh, my other lender would let me pay with a credit card. Now, I've personally never came across that, but you can check with yours to see if that's a payment option that they allow, because usually most auto loan lenders will not let you use credit to pay another credit. So usually you will have to pay with like a debit card or straight out of your bank account as an ACH payment. Definitely check to see if your lender has online account management, because it helps you so much, because you're able to see in real time instead of having to wait every month to see a statement. It lets you see real time how your payment is being applied and like what your balance is. So I always recommend doing that, because we all want to keep track of like where our money is going, right? And also when it comes to deferments, like you're having some financial difficulty at the particular month you're needing to make your monthly car payment, you are wanting to just go ahead and skip a payment, as customers would say, or some other lenders put it, or putting it to the end of the loan. Each lender may have a different policy on that. So you want to see if they're able to provide that option to you. Now, the consequences of that option, there's going to be an increased amount of interest that you're going to have to pay back, because you putting it to the end of the loan, that's not, again, going to stop your interest from accruing. It's still going to accrue, but you're going to probably have to pay 60 days worth of interest when you make your next payment. So just be aware of that. But again, see what your lender says when it comes to those deferments, because we all need that extra time sometimes. We can't help it. Things come up. So just want to make sure you're informed about what you're really doing, because you don't want to be surprised. Why didn't any of my payment go towards my principal balance? It's because you didn't make a payment for 2 months. So that could happen. Oh, I was supposed to pay off last month. Why is it still saying I owe another payment? Because you put it to the end of the loan right at the beginning. So you definitely don't want to be surprised about anything like that. I hope you guys found this video informative, because I definitely want to set things straight when it comes to auto loans, because we all just want to get these things paid off, right? We don't want to spend our whole lives paying an auto loan back. We all need cars, and things like this aren't taught in school, I don't think, really ever. So it's important to get like the facts out there so people could know exactly what they're getting into, because unless you live in like New York or somewhere where there's like a lot of public transit, we all need cars, and a lot of us don't have $25,000 to give a lender right then and there to get a car. So you're gonna have to be in an auto loan at some point in your life. So it's very important to make sure you have all of the important details and like what you can do once you have to get into one, to where you could save money and get this thing paid off faster in half the time, maybe even in 2 years, 1 year. I've seen it done. So it's definitely possible, but I hope you guys found this pretty helpful. I feel like I've been saying definitely a lot of times in this video. Do you guys ever have that happen to you? Like for me, I have certain words that I say a lot, and you may see it over the course of me doing videos. And mine's are, you know, I mean, definitely sometimes. Apparently in this video, that's my word, but yeah, just don't mind me. I'm just speaking, trying to get these words out. If you guys did find this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, because that is going to let me know that you found this helpful and you want to see more, because I for sure have more information I could give out to you guys that's very beneficial and that could help you out in the long run. And yeah, you guys could also follow me on Instagram and Snapchat. They're both going to be at Megan Victor, MEGHANVICTOR. And yeah, I look forward to any questions or comments, and you can comment those down below. Just let me know if there's anything you needed clarification for, because I mean, I could always do another video, because I could go on and on, but who wants to be here all day watching me speak? No, I'm just kidding. And yeah, thanks for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.